Now at 9, a mail truck in Joplin goes up in flames, but quick action helps save a few of those deliveries. Plus, new dental students in Joplin get their white coats, with one standing out from the rest. And KU's new stadium is about more than football, and not everyone's on board.
The 4 states' most watched news starts now.
Well, some Joplin residents may have their mail go up in flames this morning. This is KOAM News at 9. I'm Anthony Saviello. Around 10:45 a.m. this morning, reports came in about a mail vehicle on fire in the Rosedale neighborhood in Joplin. Joplin police say the mail carrier was out for delivery but was not injured. The mail carrier was not inside the vehicle when it began to catch fire. We are told the fire began in the engine compartment of the vehicle. We are also told a lot of mail was saved before the vehicle was fully engulfed in flames. Well, let's go ahead and check in with Chris Warner for a first look at our weather.
Yeah, we had a pretty decent day for us out there. It was hot, though, and we've had those high heat index values. A look from earlier this afternoon, downtown Pittsburgh. You can see we had partly cloudy skies, and that was the expected case there. MoDOT camera, 20th and Range Line in Joplin, looking back to the north again a little earlier today. Plenty of folks out on the road, and I guarantee you every last one of them probably had that AC cranked up. All right, 75 where we started yesterday, well above average there, and 7 degrees above average where we made it to 98 yesterday. Still not to record levels, that's fine, but still hot. Our average high is again about 90, and since Thursday we've just seen temperatures climbing and staying hot, and they will continue to do so. Heat advisories across the entire region. Again, the latest of these are running through Monday, which we'll break down for you here in a little bit later. As we go through the rest of the evening, we're looking at clear skies or mostly clear skies. We'll be back into the low 80s by 11, and we're starting our day once again already above normal, mid-70s by 6 and near 80 by 8 o'clock in the morning. Do have some pop-up storm chances here and there, and eventually we will get some relief from the heat. Go over those details with you here in just a few more minutes. Anthony?
Chris, thank you. The new school year is getting underway, and Kansas City University dentistry students in Joplin participated this afternoon in their traditional white coating ceremony. 80 dental students were welcomed with this white coat ceremony. Ceremony marks their official start of dental school. While the ceremony takes place every year, there is one student who stands out among the rest.
Every time they see a white coat, I hope that they can relate that to trust, and that we here, the students at KCU, really care about the community and the well-being of others and improving their lives.
Mihangas is a former Marine and mother of 3 looking to take on dental school as her next challenge. Well, fans of Pitt State made their way out to Ron Supermarket today for the 3rd annual Ron Supermarket Kids Fest. The day was filled with games, activities, and food for kids and their families, with special guest appearances from the Pitt State football team.
We had soccer, we had volleyball, we have cheer, dance, band, and we've got all the seniors on the football team out here. And Pittsburgh is very lucky. We have a wonderful group of students here in town.
All of this took place just outside the supermarket in the parking lot. Well, Sudstock 2025 is here in Carthage, Missouri. The event put on by the Alliance of Southwest Missouri aims to provide good, clean fun for the entire family. Free to attend, the event also featured inflatables, foam cannons, hot dogs, and much more.
We have our big top tent, and under there we have free nachos, popcorn from Access Family, and we have lots of vendors under there. And at 1:30 we'll have a puppet show, and specifically talking about the harms of vaping, because that's what we're trying to teach kids and parents today.
The Alliance of Southwest Missouri says their purpose is to advance the well-being of kids and the grown-ups in their lives throughout Southwest Missouri. KU's renovated football stadium is taking shape, but university leaders say it's about much more than football. The project includes conference space, housing, and retail, and it's sparking both enthusiasm and concern from Lawrence residents. Betsy Webster reports.
We saw the snazzy renovated stadium during the first football practice of the season, but KU's CFO emphasizes it's so much more than football. It's a multi-use stadium with a built-in 50,000 square foot conference center on the north side. That's phase one and darn close to done.
So think about when you go to a conference. You don't just hang out at the conference, you go visit the local community, you go to the restaurants.
Phase two would work on the east side of the stadium. It also adds a hotel, student housing, retail, restaurants, a parking garage, and an outdoor entertainment plaza.
Kind of like T-Mobile outdoors, maybe think of it that way.
That's something some residents are worried about.
We're going to have a hotel here, we're going to have a convention there, weddings there, and this and that. But what about the neighborhood that it's going to destroy?
Another resident praised the deal, remarking that private developers get similar incentives, except for the Star Bonds project, which makes up the bulk of the bond funding and involves primarily state sales taxes.
That just makes no sense to me why you wouldn't want to support this funding mechanism.
Still ahead on KOAM News at 9, a mosquito boom is putting Iowa at risk for West Nile virus. We'll show you how to stay safe while still enjoying the outdoors. The end of summer is drawing closer, but there are still plenty of mosquitoes hovering around some parts of the country. That includes in Iowa, where one local health department put out a warning about an increase in West Nile virus not seen in 2 decades. Todd Magel reports.
It hurts. It hurts.
Hendrix Castillo has become a mosquito expert thanks to plenty of time spent fishing at Waterworks Park. Take a close look. His legs are covered in red bite marks.
Just go outside for a couple seconds, so they'll get you immediately. They're not that bad, but they hurt.
The Polk County Health Department is warning people after some startling results from Iowa State University experts. They capture mosquitoes across the state and test them for the West Nile virus.
In the most recent data that we have, it's been 20 plus years since we've seen these levels of West Nile virus being detected in mosquito traps across the state.
Health experts say it's important to use EPA-registered insect repellent, cover your skin when you're outdoors, and avoid outdoor activity around dawn or dusk. West Nile symptoms include rash, fever, headaches, and body aches. One big reason for the mosquito population boom is all the floodwater left here in central Iowa after this summer's record rainfall.
Making sure that you have no standing water around your house because mosquitoes can breed in a space as small as a bottle cap.
August and September are the most dangerous months for the West Nile virus. Even so, that won't stop Castillo from hanging out at the fishing hole.
Mosquitoes don't harm me. I don't really care about them. I would rather be out here than getting bit by mosquitoes.
According to the Center for Disease Control and Prevention, roughly 1 out of every 150 people who get infected with West Nile virus get very seriously ill. Well, the Department of Health and Human Services is reinstating the task force on safer childhood vaccines following a lawsuit from an anti-vaccine group once led by Robert F. Kennedy Jr. Led by the director of the National Institutes of Health, alongside the CDC and FDA, the task force will review vaccine development, distribution, and monitoring and report to Congress within 2 years. But many vaccine experts are skeptical, saying childhood vaccines are already among the most closely studied and safely administered medicines. Eli Lilly says it will sharply raise the price of its weight loss drug, Mounjaro, in the United Kingdom, part of an effort to bring costs down in the U.S. after pressure from the Trump administration. The company announced price hikes across Europe this week. In the U.K., a month's supply of the highest dose will jump from about $165 to $447, a 170% increase. Eli Lilly says prices through the UK's public health service won't change. The move follows President Trump's letter to more than a dozen drug makers last month, urging them to cut prescription costs for Americans. Chris is next with a complete look at your forecast, and later, travelers across the U.S. are now hitting the skies more than ever this season. We'll show you why autumn is becoming the new peak travel time and how to make your trip stress-free.
Another hot day across the region as temperatures remained above normal for us, and that will regrettably be the trend through this weekend and into at least the start of the next work week. Let's start with a quick look outside downtown Pittsburgh from earlier today. Again, partly cloudy skies, otherwise not too bad, at least from the skies perspective, but down here at the surface, heat index values are climbing, and we do have heat advisories. Now, again, 5 different weather service offices cover our region. All of these still have varying expiration times. Springfield, though, still continuing through Monday at 8 o'clock. Tulsa's gone ahead and gone out not just for our Saturday, but for Sunday as well. And the others are still set to expire later, but could very well and would not be out of the question for them to be reissued heading into our Sunday. Future track, we could start seeing as we head into our Sunday afternoon an isolated pop-up shower or rumble of thunder. It's a very low chance, but it's a little better than what we were looking at on Friday for these pop-up storm chances. But again, the majority of us, unfortunately, will remain dry. Now, we go into our Monday, things do change up a bit. Temperature-wise, they don't. But by Monday afternoon, we're looking at least right now at maybe some slightly better pop-up storm chances. Now, again, a number of us will remain dry. And with pop-up storms, remember, it does not a guarantee that you will see rain in these exact locations. But it is at least a possibility as we head into our Monday, and then we'll see that chance return as we roll into Tuesday. Our heat index values, though, still are just, I don't know what this is, but it is uncomfortable. We know that much. 105, getting close to 110 again as we roll into Sunday afternoon. We head into Monday afternoon, and if you thought it was going to be hot again, you would be correct. Those heat index values, again, Monday, even on Friday, was still looking to be a pretty toasty day, heat index value-wise, still looking to be one of the hotter days with a few more of us getting close to 110 degrees on those heat index values. And that could carry into Tuesday, but we'll start to see some gradual improvements once we go from Tuesday into Wednesday of next week. As for the rest of our evening tonight, back into the mid-70s, so above normal temperatures, few clouds here and there. We'll have a south breeze around 5 to 10 miles an hour. Heading into tomorrow, again, putting on at least 10% chance of an isolated pop-up storm or two. Otherwise, that is awful, but that is our high. Upper 90s, some of us maybe right at 100. Southwest winds 5 to 10. Into Sunday night, still a few clouds, still well above normal temperatures, mid-70s. Winds will be calm. And as we roll into Monday, again, 10-20% chance of an isolated pop-up storm or two. Hopefully that will hold for us because at least some kind of rain would be nice, but still dangerously hot as we push close to 100. And this is a look from a little earlier today. This is Category 5 Hurricane Erin out in the Atlantic. So at this time, it was winds of about 160 miles an hour. That eye wall very well defined out there. And as we take a look at the course, we talked about what possibilities were out there and what other good possibilities. There was a bad side and a good side. The good side looks to be working in our favor, but still a Category 5 hurricane heading into Sunday morning. Still major hurricanes, Category 4 going as we head into Monday evening and Tuesday morning, but it does get somewhat close to some of the islands out here, so we got to watch that. But the good news again is it's still looking to turn away from the New England states, which is absolutely good news because a direct hit up there could be pretty devastating. Dangerous heat again through at least Tuesday. Take a look at Wednesday, though. Even better rain chances there. Still low, but they're there, and our temperatures dropping back near or a little below average as we roll into the second half of next week. Anthony?
Chris, thank you very much. Coming up, nationwide protests are underway this weekend against GOP redistricting plans. Here's why demonstrators are hitting the streets. A new traveling trend is gaining traction this fall as more people are choosing to vacation later in the year. Fox News' Christina Coleman has more.
Travelers across the U.S. are now opting to travel more during the fall season than in the summer. Luxury travel company Virtuoso says they are seeing a 12% surge in bookings and reservations for the fall compared to this time last year. Travel expert Misty Bell says people are choosing autumn in order to have a more stress-free experience when they fly.
In fall, which used to be considered a shoulder season, it was really a quieter time, is now really a peak travel period, especially for high-end travelers, as they're looking to beat crowds and head off to places where the temperatures are a little bit cooler, we're really seeing fall bookings and sales up.
And Americans aren't just traveling later in the year, they are traveling more frequently. In their research, Virtuoso found that 39% of people are planning to travel more in 2025.
So for the fall, we're seeing domestic travel continues to be very strong. I have to say, for Virtuoso, the U.S. is always our top destination, but that is followed closely by a lot of the European favorites as well. So we're seeing that Italy, France, the UK, Greece, Portugal, those are all doing very well for fall.
Specialists recommend that if you are planning to travel internationally, it's best to make sure you have all the necessary documents required for that destination. And when it comes to domestic trips, don't forget your passport if you don't have a real ID. That will help you avoid facing additional screenings at the airport. In Los Angeles, Christina Coleman, Fox News.
Well, millions of AT&T 7 customers could get thousands of dollars in cash payments as part of a $177 million settlement over 2 data breaches. The 2 breaches were announced in March and July of last year. The first one impacted 73 million current and former customers whose information, including social security numbers, was found in a data set on the dark web. The second breach included the telephone numbers of nearly all the company's cellular customers. According to the settlement website, customers who were impacted by either breach will be eligible for a claim. The eligible customers will not receive an email notice. Customers who were impacted by both breaches could be eligible for up to $7,500. Target and Ulta Beauty are ending their years-long relationship. More than 600 Ulta mini beauty shops have operated within Target stores since 2021. Ulta's merchandise was also added to Target's website. In a statement, Target says they are proud of the experience the companies delivered together. Ulta also shared a statement saying the partnership was one of the ways they brought the power of beauty to customers nationwide. Customers will still have some time before the Ulta stores go away. The partnership officially ends next August. And a new study warns climate change could make satellites more vulnerable to solar storms, threatening GPS and internet service. Researchers say rising carbon dioxide is making the upper atmosphere thinner. That means solar storms could cause bigger density spikes, knocking satellites off orbit or shortening their lives. Scientists warn designs need to adapt now because storms won't impact the atmosphere the same way in 30 years. They add stronger impacts could also make space junk worse. Up next, Neil Young has left Facebook over concerns about Meta's AI chatbot, and he's not the first tech platform this artist has walked away from. You might have one less Facebook friend if you followed Neil Young, the legendary musician. Well, he's left the Facebook platform, citing concerns about Meta's AI chatbot and that it could engage in romantic or sensual conversations with children. It's not the first time Young has cut ties with a tech company over his beliefs. Back in 2022, he pulled his music from Spotify for 2 years because of its hosting of Joe Rogan's podcast. Young hasn't said if he plans to leave Instagram, also owned by Meta. Meanwhile, Meta says the chatbot language was a mistake and has removed it from internal documents. 30 more minutes of news, weather, and sports coming your way. Coming up, tensions flare on D.C. streets as Trump's law enforcement surge sparks protests and arrests.
You're watching the 4 states' most watched news.
Protesters are gathering at different events across the U.S. for what they say is a call to action against the Trump administration. Fox News' CB Cotton has more from New York on the Fight the Trump takeover rallies, which are popping up across various states today.
Never be divided. The people united.
Protesters nationwide are fighting back against Republicans' plans for redistricting. Dozens of protests were scheduled to take place across 34 states in what organizers are calling the Fight the Trump takeover on Saturday.
How we draw districts has consequences. Time and time again, congressional districts in Texas have determined the quality of life for the most vulnerable.
One of the largest protests is taking place in Austin, Texas, where state Republicans there are planning to redraw their districts to give the GOP 5 additional seats for next year's midterm elections.
We are in a fight for safe democracy, not only in Texas, not only in the United States, but for the whole entire world.
And it's not only in Texas. Republicans in Missouri and Florida are also hinting at redistricting in their states as well. Still, some GOP lawmakers don't support the move.
And I will readily acknowledge that both parties have engaged in gerrymandering. But traditionally, it's only been done at the beginning of the decade when the census requires redistricting.
Trump must go now!
And in Washington, a separate set of protesters are marching to the White House, demanding, quote, no military occupation of our cities, following announcements from President Trump that he would activate National Guard troops in D.C. to reduce crime. On Friday, Democrats in California released their own proposal for a new congressional map to counteract efforts in Texas. In New York, CB Cotton, Fox News.
Well, a federal judge has blocked the Federal Trade Commission's investigation of a liberal advocacy group. The FTC launched the investigation into Media Matters for America earlier this spring. The group is known for its campaigns against Rupert Murdoch's Fox News and Elon Musk's social media platform X. The FTC said it was probing possible collusion. Media Matters sued the agency, claiming the investigation was retribution. In her ruling, the judge cited evidence that the investigation was an act of retaliation and granted the preliminary injunction. An FTC spokesperson did not respond to the request for comment. More than 10,000 Air Canada flight attendants who walked out Saturday are being ordered back to work. The announcement came hours after the Airline Canada's largest suspended all operations. The jobs minister directed the Industrial Relations Board to force a return, citing the country's economy and interest. The union and Air Canada have been bargaining for 8 months, still far apart on pay and unpaid duties when planes aren't flying. Flight attendants voted overwhelmingly to strike. Well, frustration is growing in the nation's capital as more National Guard troops appear in Washington, D.C. It is part of President Donald Trump's crackdown on crime, which he says is out of control. A traffic checkpoint was set up in a popular part of the city Wednesday night while outraged residents held a protest. Brian Todd reports.
Open tension on the street between D.C. residents and local and federal officers as President Trump's law enforcement surge in Washington ramps up.
You're looking at me over here. What is your badge? How's that work? For what part of the government do you work for?
Metropolitan D.C. police and federal agents, some wearing masks, set up a checkpoint in an area popular for bars and restaurants, stopping motorists, handcuffing and detaining at least one that we saw as furious local residents screamed at the officers.
Anything for a check, right? Go home, fascists! Go home!
The spur-of-the-moment protest was non-violent, but residents got angry when we relayed that one of the commanders told us this was a routine operation.
Hell no! I've lived here for 17 years off of this street, and this has never happened.
The president's law enforcement surge clearly getting more aggressive last night and today. Late at night, we saw 6 FBI vehicles pull a motorist over and question him in the Anacostia section of D.C., one of the areas hardest hit by crime. We tailed a caravan of Metro police and federal vehicles as they snaked through the area looking for criminal activity. The president and his team today applauding the daily arrests and getting criminals off D.C. streets.
People are so happy to see our military going into D.C. and getting these thugs out.
Today, near the Lincoln Memorial and the Kennedy Center, where President Trump's motorcade and a lot of tourists often pass by, bulldozers uprooted a homeless encampment, its occupants forced to move out.
And the idea that he's targeting us and persecuting us feels wrong to me.
The president said he wants to move the homeless out of the city and give them places to stay far away from the Capitol. One homeless person we spoke to doesn't hate the idea.
It'd be a place to live, for one.
I want to be outside. If it takes me having to move to get a place, I'm all for it.
D.C. National Guard troops also out in greater numbers today. A National Guard official telling CNN, for now, these troops will be stationed near the monuments at metro train stops and have not been asked to deploy to high crime areas. The Guardsmen could help with crowd control and could detain people if needed, the official says, but won't make arrests or carry firearms.
Later, from cows on the run to snowplow showdowns in a pirate ship in Rhode Island, we got the latest for Take a Look at This.
Another hot day across the region as temperatures remained above normal for us, and that will regrettably be the trend through this weekend and into at least the start of the next work week. Let's start with a quick look outside downtown Pittsburgh from earlier today. Again, partly cloudy skies, otherwise not too bad, at least from the skies perspective, but down here at the surface, heat index values are climbing and we do have heat advisories. Now again, 5 different weather service offices cover our region. All of these still have varying expiration times. Springfield, though, still continuing through Monday at 8 o'clock. Tulsa's gone ahead and gone out not just for our Saturday, but for Sunday as well. And the others are still set to expire later, but could very well and would not be out of the question for them to be reissued heading into our Sunday. Future track, we could start seeing as we head into our Sunday afternoon an isolated pop-up shower or rumble of thunder. It's a very low chance, but it's a little better than what we were looking at on Friday for these pop-up storm chances, but again, the majority of us, unfortunately, will remain dry. Now, we go into our Monday, things do change up a bit. Temperature-wise, they don't, but by Monday afternoon, we're looking at least right now at maybe some slightly better pop-up storm chances. Now, again, a number of us will remain dry, and with pop-up storms, remember, it does not a guarantee that you will see rain in these exact locations, but it is at least a possibility as we head into our Monday, and then we'll see that chance return as we roll into Tuesday. Our heat index values, though, still are just, I don't know what this is, but it is uncomfortable. We know that much. 105, getting close to 110 again as we roll into Sunday afternoon. We head into Monday afternoon, and if you thought it was going to be hot again, you would be correct. Those heat index values, again, Monday, even on Friday, was still looking to be a pretty toasty day heat index value-wise, still looking to be one of the hotter days with a few more of us getting close to 110 degrees on those heat index values. And that could carry into Tuesday, but we'll start to see some gradual improvements once we go from Tuesday into Wednesday of next week. As for the rest of our evening tonight, back into the mid-70s, so above normal temperatures, few clouds here and there. We'll have a south breeze around 5 to 10 miles an hour. Heading into tomorrow, again, putting on at least 10% chance of an isolated pop-up storm or two. Otherwise, that is awful, but that is our high. Upper 90s, some of us maybe right at 100. Southwest winds 5 to 10. Into Sunday night, still a few clouds, still well above normal temperatures, mid-70s. Winds will be calm. And as we roll into Monday, again, 10-20% chance of an isolated pop-up storm or two. Hopefully that will hold for us because at least some kind of rain would be nice, but still dangerously hot as we push close to 100. And this is a look from a little earlier today. This is Category 5 Hurricane Erin out in the Atlantic. So at this time, it was winds of about 160 miles an hour. That eye wall very well defined out there. And as we take a look at the course, we talked about what possibilities were out there and what other good possibilities. There was a bad side and a good side. The good side looks to be working in our favor, but still a Category 5 hurricane heading into Sunday morning. Still major hurricanes, Category 4 going as we head into Monday evening and Tuesday morning, but it does get somewhat close to some of the islands out here, so we got to watch that. But the good news again is it's still looking to turn away from the New England states, which is absolutely good news because a direct hit up there could be pretty devastating. Dangerous heat again through at least Tuesday. Take a look at Wednesday, though. Even better rain chances there. Still low, but they're there, and our temperatures dropping back near or a little below average as we roll into the second half of next week. Anthony?
Chris, thanks. Still ahead, the Royals and Cardinals have major league matchups today, and the Kansas City Chiefs have some standout performances in yesterday's preseason game. Ben McLeish has those stories up next in sports.
In Major League Baseball, the Royals and Cardinals have home matchups today. Kansas City took down Chicago 3-1 in yesterday's series opener. Now they'll look to clinch the series with Michael Lorenzen on the mound. A win tonight would put the Royals above 500. They currently sit just 4 games out of a wild card spot, so these games against one of the Major League's worst teams are huge. KC has 6 games with the AL Central leading Tigers to close out the month of August, so the Royals need to capitalize against lesser opponents. But tonight's game is still scoreless in the first. The Cardinals are in a very similar spot to the Royals. They're 1 game below 500. Both teams have been hovering around that mark for the past month. And St. Louis has a tough matchup tonight against the New York Yankees. The Redbirds can help out the Royals tonight because the Yankees are the team holding that last AL wildcard spot. The Cards are also in their own wildcard race, just 3.5 games behind the scuffling Mets. But right now, the Yankees already jumped out to a 2-0 lead in the first. Last night, the Kansas City Chiefs took on the Seahawks in the second preseason game. And this one was definitely more exciting for Seattle fans as the Seahawks dominated 33-16. But we all know preseason games don't count for much. We did get to see some nice performances yesterday, though, including at the QB position. Career journeyman Gardner Minshew signed a 1-year deal with the Chiefs this offseason. Here he connects with tight end Robert Tonyan for a touchdown. Tunyan's another guy with lots of starting experience. He could play a role for the Chiefs this season. And a guy like Gardner Minshew is very valuable if Patrick Mahomes were to go down for a few weeks. You can trust Minshew to come in and hold his own. But altogether, not a super exciting game for Kansas City. The Chiefs' second and third team defenses had trouble stopping the Seattle offense, giving up 268 yards on the ground. But again, I wouldn't read too much into these games. Here's the game's box score. Minshew and Tonyan had nice performances, and the rookie class has some production as well. 7th round running back Rashard Smith totals 38 yards, and every defensive selection, Norman Lott, Williams, Gillott, and Bassa make an impact on the stat sheet. On the PGA Tour, the league's top golfers wrap up day 3 of the BMW Championship. Here's the leaderboard heading into the final round, and Robert McIntyre, shooting 16 under, has a commanding 4-stroke lead over the world's #1 golfer, Scottie Scheffler. Third place is Ludwig Oberg at 10 under. It's mostly a 3-man race for the final 18 holes, but obviously anything can happen. McIntyre will be under a lot of pressure to close this one out, with Scheffler breathing down his neck. Last weekend, we saw Tommy Fleetwood give up his lead on the final day, so we should have an exciting final round of the BMW Championship.
Yeah, absolutely. But going back to the Chiefs real quick here, you're new to town, you're new to the area, gonna have to start rooting for the Chiefs a little bit. Are you excited to kind of watch them this season, be a little bit more focused on them this season?
Yeah, I mean, they've been probably the best team in the NFL for the past 5 years if you take everything into consideration. They're coming off of, obviously, a disappointing Super Bowl performance, but what brought them there was incredibly impressive, and I expect them to have another pretty good season this year.
Absolutely. We'll be right back. Well, holy cow, a livestock on the loose situation that unfolded near a busy Illinois roadway was brought to a swift conclusion, not just by cops, but by cowboys as well. Jeremy Roth has today's Take a Look at This.
Watch an escaped cow situation on an Illinois highway turn into a literal roadway rodeo when officials decide to call in the cowboys. Video from Williamson County authorities shows the moment the large ornery animal escaped from its trailer while parked at a gas station. By the way, what exactly were you thinking the squeegee was going to do there, pal? Anyway, the livestock went on the lam near an interstate overpass, but luckily coordinating agencies had, coordinated with local cattlemen who hoofed it on horseback after the hightail and heifer, eventually wrangling it thanks to a well-placed lasso. The department later shared the clip saying teamwork isn't just for catching criminals, sometimes it's for catching cows. And now to a different kind of rodeo, a snowplow rodeo. That's what officials in Wisconsin call an annual competition designed to put local snowplow pilots through their paces. You're probably thinking, what in the upper Midwest is going on here? But winters in this region are no joke, which is why the Wisconsin chapter of the American Public Works Association put together this tenacious test of vehicle safety and operations, mechanical knowledge, and driving ability, so that when the snowfall gets steady, these drivers are ready. Finally, take a look at a vessel in Rhode Island that is anything but typical. In fact, it's not normal. That's the name of this sailboat turned pirate ship helmed by Jason DePietro. Yes, he's the pirate pilot of this ship who poured his blood, sweat, tears, and time into fixing up the kooky craft, which he hopes to use for charity purposes. That's a goal lofty enough to get even the most cynical landlubbers to exclaim, "Shiver me timbers, laddie!" Wait, no, that's Scottish. Whatever, you get the idea. For Take a Look at This, I'm Jeremy Roth.
Well, no one matched all the winning numbers in Wednesday's Powerball drawing, and now the jackpot has grown to $565 million, the biggest jackpot so far this year. That's more than $526 million winning ticket from California in March. The next drawing is is tonight. The estimated cash value of the drawing is $565 million, and it's a $258.8 million jackpot. Your odds of winning are roughly 292 million to 1. The largest Powerball jackpot ever was upwards of $2 billion back in November of 22. Up next, from Denzel Washington skipping Instagram to Emma Thompson facing danger in the snow, see which big screen thrills are coming soon. Movie news now, from the Big Apple to the frozen North. Here's David Daniel with today's Hollywood Minute.
I think you gotta be a little crazy sometimes in this world to get what you want.
What highest to lowest star Denzel Washington wants is for fans to see him on the big screen, not on social media.
Denzel doesn't even have a secret Instagram account.
No, I don't have all those so-called Instagram accounts that my name's connected to it. You've been had. Yeah. You've been took. Yeah. Hoodwinked. Bamboozled. I don't have an Instagram account.
I think we'd all be better off without those addictives in our lives.
Highest to Lowest opens in select theaters today and debuts on Apple TV Plus September 5th.
Try that again, you're dead.
Hello? Anyone out there? It's an emergency. There's been a kidnapping. Anyone?
Emma Thompson is a reluctant hero in the official trailer for Dead of Winter. She plays a grieving loner who travels to northern Minnesota, where she finds a girl being held captive by a dangerous couple. Isolated and alone, they both have to fight for survival.
What are we gonna do? We keep going. Simple as that.
Dead of Winter is in theaters September 26th. In Hollywood, I'm David Daniel.
That's our time for tonight. Thanks for joining us. We're right back here tomorrow. Have a good night.